This is the Sports Wrap with Brian Parsons.
A tip of the cap and a stroke of the pen can change your life as it did today for thousands of soon-to-be college football players on National Signing Day. Welcome to a special Signing Day edition of the Sports Wrap. Dozens and dozens of high school athletes from Hampton Roads making their college choices. A lot of the players had already made their announcements, but a few were undecided going into today, including Hampton Crabbers athlete Daz Nome. Packed house on hand to see dazzling Daz. It was down to 3, Maryland, Virginia Tech, and North Carolina. Some thought that the Hokies had the upper hand, but Daz, he had other ideas. Daz trying to pull a little trickaroo there. Newsom heading to Chapel Hill. He was recruited as a defensive back and kick returner. Here's his reason for picking Carolina.
For one, when I went there, it was like a brotherhood. So that was one of my major decisions why I went there. And for two, they need corners. So if I can just go in there and compete, I can get my spot.
His teammates Jalen Powell and Justin Redd, both offensive linemen, are headed to Norfolk State. Staying in Hampton, we're going to Bethel. Jeremiah Owusu is one of the top linebackers in the state. He decommitted from Virginia and chose between Michigan State and Notre Dame. And how does he announce? He did that by calling Notre Dame head coach Brian Kelly on stage in front of everyone. Kelly answers and officially welcomes Owusu to the Fighting Irish.
It's a tradition-based school. It was actually my dream school from the jump, to see how the coaches treat their players and to see the atmosphere up there and the touchdown Jesus and the huge stadium. It's just glamorous, and it's just a blessing to be able to have this opportunity.
Darnell Ewell from Lake Taylor also going to Notre Dame. Bethel had one other FBS signee, defensive tackle Janaz Jordan, staying in the area. He's going to Old Dominion. At Bishop Sullivan in Virginia Beach, 13 athletes signed with colleges, 11 for football. Impressive list of schools. We're talking Maine, Norfolk State, James Madison, Delaware, UMass, Army, and the big ones. Running back Kayin Leborn will go to Florida State. And the big winner, the University of Maryland, which landed 3 players from Bishop Sullivan. Taj Capehart, who had committed to Virginia Tech, makes a last-minute change. He's going to Maryland. Also headed to Maryland, those guys, the Gaddy brothers, Breon and Brandon.
Recruiting is like a long process, and I'm really glad to get it over with, so now I can focus on getting my GPA even higher.
Like my mom said, we can't separate. No way at all. And if you go to Maryland, I have to go to Maryland, and it's just very important that he's there beside me.
Staying at Bishop Sullivan, Florida State-bound Kayin Leborn is one of the most dynamic players in this year's recruiting class. Rivals.com has Leborn listed as a 5-star running back. Other services list him as a 4-star player. Leborn has already proven himself on the national stage. He was the MVP of the Under Armour All-American game. He's rated as the #1 all-purpose back in the country, and he's ready to get going in Tallahassee.
They coaching staff, they're real. They be straight up. They told me how everything was gonna go, and that's all I'm looking for. A great coaching staff. Coach ain't gonna lie. Coach a team atmosphere as well. I can't wait.
Leborn joins fellow 7'5" players Levante Taylor, Josh Sweat, and Derek Noddy on the Seminoles roster. And staying at the beach, Jordan Williams made it official. The Cox High School defensive end will play for the defending national champions, signing his letter of intent to play for Dabo Swinney and the Clemson Tigers.
I just had a great fight. I talked to my parents one day. I just came home from school after coaching them stopped by to see me, and I just told my dad, I was like, I want to go to Clemson. I just told him, and then at the openings when I FaceTimed Coach Swinney, actually, and I told him that I was ready to be a Tiger, and he said it's official at the cookout. When we looked each other in the eye, shook hands.
Well, following a 10-win season and its first ever bowl, Old Dominion welcomed 19 new players for its signing class. 3 of those players are from Hampton Roads. Coach Bobby Wilder landed 9 players on offense, 10 on defense. ODU signed 2 quarterbacks, Jordan Hoy, a junior college transfer from Fullerton College in California, and Stephen Williams, a big quarterback from D.C. But the bulk of Wilder's signees are players in the trenches.
We were able to add value to our team at every position. You'll notice the most players in the offensive and defensive line. We want to continually strengthen that position with the teams we compete with, not only in our league, but the non-league schedule we're going to start to play in coming years, particularly with the ACC. We've got to get bigger and we've got to get more athletic, and that was a goal, and we accomplished that today.
Welcome back to our coverage of National Signing Day here on the Sports Wrap, and to help us break it all down, no one better than Andy Hilton of Recruit757.com. Andy, getting right into it, overall thoughts on the class of 2017?
Well, we had a quality class this year, and that class made a big splash with teams like Florida State coming in, 2 kids going to Notre Dame. A lot of big schools made a big push this year, and some, like mentioning Notre Dame, actually had an impact and stole a few players away. North Carolina got their first player in years with Daz Nome committing to the Tar Heels instead of Virginia Tech. So this may be a turning point in seeing some local players go to some schools and some names you haven't seen them go to recently.
Which of these names do you feel like can make a big impact right away?
Well, you would think so. Several of the players that committed at Bishop Sullivan have a chance to make an impact right away. We saw a last-minute change with Chris Hunt going to UMass. Of course, that kind of move is for instant playing time. You've got Elijah Conliff going to Florida, who says he thinks he's going to play early. We'll see.
And Andy, what can we expect from the class of 2018?
Well, it's always interesting to look ahead, and this is only next year. We're talking about Keyshawn Artis, linebacker at Oscar Smith, and Taraja Mitchell, who may be the #1 linebacker in the class nationally, are both coming out next year. They're going to see a huge amount of attention. They're going to headline the class. After that, there's a lot of good players, but there's a lot to be proven.
Andy Hilton of Recruit757.com helping us out with National Signing Day. Of course, you can visit ultimaterecruit.com or wavy.com. Click on sports for all of our National Signing Day coverage. I'm Nathan Epstein. We'll be back after this.